Everybody, Shiv here to ask you a couple questions and see what you think. Alright, how many times have you logged into Hearthstone and gotten your daily quest and saw it's a class that you didn't want to play? Quite often, I bet. Well, for me, that's almost always Druid, because it's generally the same damn thing over and over again, and it's... Alright? It generally gets the living shit knocked out of it by so much stuff that you just never want to play it, right? Right? Okay. Second question. How often are you sick and tired of seeing the same damn net deck copy pasta bullshit all over the fucking place? Seriously, you go to Hearthstone, right? With the exception of one deck. Almost everything on that top front page is a copy pasta of something that's been out for several months. True fact. So, yeah. The meta has kind of gotten a little stagnant and things of that nature. So, imagine my surprise to see something that harkens back to the days of Alpha and CBT with a fresh new take on it. And it's actually viable. Holy shit, is this viable? I looked at this deck and I went, no. And then I played it. Because you can never judge anything, alright, without actually playing it. So, I played it and went, oh yeah, I forgot, Nourish also gives that, yeah, alright. So, let's get in here and talk about this deck, alright? This is the LaiNiaK's hard ramp Druid that we're going to be taking a look at. Okay, so what is a hard ramp Druid, you're going to ask? Well, hard ramp Druid is kind of like any other typical ramp Druid, except they add Nourish. And they have heals because they virtually have no early game. Like, seriously, your early game doesn't start till like Sengens, and even then, those aren't going to be coming on curve at all. Alright? So, you have Nourish is here. Nourish actually plays a very interesting role here. If you get it in your early game, it's definitely to ramp you up. If you get it in your late game, it's to pull cards into your hand, which then you can synergize with, say, an Emperor Thurazan and get a reduction on even more stuff. It's really, really fucking cool. Or, in some situations, you can even put it out immediately after, say, oh, I don't know, Chromagus? Alright. So, let's take a look at this. Innervates Wild Growth. These are pretty much staples of almost every single Druid deck ever designed. Wrath sometimes comes in, sometimes comes out. Bloodmage Thanos returning. This card used to show up all the time in Druid. It was like one of these, two Azure Drakes. I'm not even kidding. Alright, Healing Touch. This is a spell you generally don't see that much being played by Druids. But when you consider how many different burst decks there are out there, I mean, this game is all about the burst. So being able to recover from that and basically say, no, you're not going to win. No, you're not going to win is really cool. The fact that you can do it for 3 mana means you can easily fit another play in it, like, say, a Taunt. So that's always good. Alright, Swipe, pretty standard. Keeper of the Grove, only a 1 of, because we're not really going to be overly aggressive here. Our main goal with this deck is to run your opponent out of options. Let them extend their fucking hand and be top decking the whole way. Meanwhile, we build board and just go crunch. Alright. Sengen Shieldmaster. This was like the staple. A lot of decks had to figure out how to deal with Sengen Shieldmaster pretty consistently because this guy was rampant everywhere. He was the best taunt for, you know, the mid game. And then, you know, Sludge Belcher came out. Okay, Nourish, as I said, card draw or mana crystals. The ramp effect really does matter in this deck, very much so. Starfall, because AoE. I really like Starfall in this deck, especially with Bloodmage Thanos. Like, if you're playing up against a warrior, right? You never put Bloodmage Thanos out on the board. You hold on to him until you get the Starfall. Because when they go for the Patron gimmick, Bloodmage plus Starfall ends that gimmick very nicely. I've actually crushed several Patron decks with this deck. They don't know how to deal with it. Alright, Making a return to the lineup is Mr. Cairn Bloodhoof. Yes, this guy used to be a staple in a lot of mid-range and control decks back in the day, but he fell out of favor because, you know, there were better 6-drops that came out. Not to mention Sylvanas went from 5 to 6, and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. Basically kind of pushed this out. But, I mean, he literally is 2 Chill Wind Yetis in one body. Silence will fuck with him. Alright, Emperor Thurzan, because, you know, reduction, we're already ramping, kind of made a little bit of sense to have another measure of it. But this one right here, this is probably like one of the cards I think you could probably get away with removing, because you really have no overt combo synergy that I've been able to find in this too well. And, I mean, there are some other aspects to it, but it's not bad. Alright. So, moving on down, we got the Sunwalker. Yes, Sunwalker instead of Sludge Belcher. Now, you might ask, why Sunwalker? Wouldn't you much rather take the Sludge Belcher? And to be perfectly honest, I'm still 50-50 on this, alright? Personally, I like Sludge Belcher, but I understand why Sunwalker is there. Sunwalker gets in that really nice spot that pisses Priest off. And we like that. Not to mention, because we're also running a Kel'Thuzad here, we would end up filling our board with a bunch of little 1/2s in the process. And, well, I would much rather just have those slots being occupied by big-ass minions. Alright? Not to mention, Sludge Belcher's spawn inevitably powers patrons, so take that for what it's worth. Alright, Sylvanas Windrunner. Yeah, you knew this deck was going to have this. This is pretty much was a staple of a lot of deck designs. It kind of phased out a lot. But here it works pretty damn good. I've had a lot of fun with this. Taking Ragnaroses, taking Dr. Booms. I took a Tyrion with it. Yeah, that was fun. You know, because sometimes you get to do some really interesting stuff and say YOLO swag. But moving on. Alright. Ancient of Lore, because fucking Druid, you always carry a goddamn tree that can either heal you or draw 2 cards. Though, to be perfectly honest with you, against the aggro decks, this is almost 100% heal. Against the more controlling decks, this did draw cards, and in some cases, I was able to draw cards using this while Cro-Magnus is in play. Matter of fact, you'll see some of that a little bit later on. Alright. Good times. Ancient of War, because big-ass taunts. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of taunts in this deck. Cro-Magnus! Yes, the 2-headed dragon of doom. This guy slides right underneath BGH. Like, seriously, there's nothing in this deck that's BGHable. And will really get some huge value. But play it carefully. Just don't YOLO this out on the board. It will die. However, there is something to be said about putting him out if your opponents already have a decent board state and you have nothing you can really do to counteract that. However, I would like to point out against Warlocks, they do have power overwhelming, so they can just do 1-for-1 trade in many cases. It really sucks, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright. Kel'Thuzad, because we like keeping our stuff. Sneed's Shredder, because we're running Kel'Thuzad, and we all know the shenanigans that could lead to. And finishing it up is Tree of Life. This, actually, I have not gotten a chance to use. I almost used it in a match that you will see here shortly. And right as I was about to do it, there was this little warning in the back of my head going, danger, danger, you're about to fuck yourself. Yeah, true fact. Alrighty then. So, the deck is really fun, really interesting. So let's take a look at it in play, shall we? Alright. So, first matchup, we're going up against an Oil Rogue. Now, I got both Nourishes in hand, but I really want some earlier ramp. And we get the Wild Growth, which is pretty much what a Druid wants to see. Alright? Wild growth determines a lot of their win against a lot of classes. Alright, and we got a heal. That's cool. I was actually in the middle of a conversation with somebody, but then they got disconnected and they never came back on. Alright, so I opt to actually go to face with hero power rather than using wild growth because I'm looking at my sequencing. If I wild growth here, I have nothing to do but hero power 3, which basically tells him my hand is shit. I don't want to give away any information like that. So we go for the wild growth here, which sets us perfectly to nourish the next turn and gain 2 more mana crystals. Now he's trying to figure out what he wants to do here. And if I remember correctly, he does something really, really, really stupid. Okay, so he goes for the preparation. Then he goes for this. And all I keep thinking is, wow, you done fucked up. Right? That's what I'm thinking. You done fucked up. You wanted to do a sprint there, sir. So to make up for it, he plays Edwin Van Cleef as if to say, oh, I meant to do that. No, you didn't. But actually, this is actually going to work out very good for him because I'm still in my build phase. Now, obviously, I have recovery in hand and I've got armor. So, I mean, I'm only really taking 4 damage from Edwin here. Or so I thought. See, I'm in this really rough spot where I can't really get away with too much flexibility. I have to play it very, very wise because this is an oil rogue. Pretty much there's no such thing as anything other than oil rogue right now for some odd reason. So we opt to go for... We're trying to decide, do we want to go for the big and have it possibly get sapped? So, but instead I go for the 6 because he'll have to do a little bit more to get through that than just sap. I mean, he could sap it still, yes. But it allowed me to also use my hero power and gain a little bit of life back. Alright, we're being very mindful of our life. It is a resource of, you know, we need this to survive. So he's going for the oil play. Like, he is comboing out pretty damn early, and he's going to get a really good payoff from this. Alright? So he takes 4, and he nails me for 9. That hurt, ladies and gentlemen. So we play Sylvanas, and we heal back most of that. As if to say, not today, sir. Now he's just going to go for damage. You know, it's like, oh shit, I'm going to lose this either way. Now I could take this and it would be at 1 life and then, you know, Fan of Knives would kill it. And that's absolutely garbage for me. Complete garbage. So instead, let's just reduce its impact. We're mitigating it. We're also going to heal back yet more damage. Gonna get rid of Mr. Edwin, and we're gonna go to face. So he did quite a bit of damage there, but because we had the healing touches, we were able to mitigate the fuck out of it. That was a huge chunk of his damage potential right out the fucking window. So now he's going to face takes Syl, which, hey, I'm okay with. I am so okay with. This, however, I'm not okay with. This leaves me like very few options. So we go for the card draw. And then I realized with the second iterate I could also throw out the big ass taunt. Now, this is where things are getting really tense for me. Sap right now would be like an amazing play for him. It would allow him to basically screw me over quite significantly. He could throw off my tempo, or just go more face damage. So he does a Fan of Knives, goes for the card draw. He's looking for answers. And he's still debating what he's going to do here. He goes for the Blade Fury, which kills one. He drops down the Loatheb to stop me from doing any kind of shenanigans to get rid of that guy other than trading. So he's gotten 2 value off Thurzan. This generally is a bad situation, ladies and gentlemen. So we go with Chromagus, and we play the Blood Mage Thalnos. That way, if he does like any sort of shenanigans, I could easily get, you know, a double pull because of Blood Mage Thalnos. And actually, I do a lot more than a double pull here. Because look what's in hand, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm arguing with myself the entire time here going, I really should hold on to this for a heal. I really should hold on to this for the heal. And I kept saying this in my head. And I was like, you know, you do have Tree of Life, sir. And that kind of like sealed the deal for me on this one. So we now have 2 Piloted Shredders, which is not the greatest thing in the world. We draw 2 more cards. We get the Cairn and another Cairn. We get Ascension Shieldmaster and another Ascension Shieldmaster. Now, I'm not ready to trade my Blood Mage yet, so we're just going to have this board state and be okay with it. Now, he could easily Azure Drake and play Eviscerate, and that'll get rid of Chromagus, but then he still has the 5/5 and the 1/1 to deal with, and oh, look at that. I've got plethora of shit I can do here. So he goes for the heal because, you know, that's just how they roll. And a Wild Growth, as if I didn't need any more card draw. Okay, so we're definitely going to exploit the hell out of this. And we get Sunwalkers, even more taunts. This is exactly what I wanted to see. More taunts. More taunts. And I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. And I'm really feeling that at this point, Chromagus has done such an amazing fucking job that I'm okay with letting him go. And we just go face. We're trying to keep him basically within the same area that we are. Alright, so we've got more taunts. We've got answers galore here for a lot of things. So here comes the Fan of Knives, the Empowered Fan of Knives. That's actually a really good play on his part. Because now he can just do a simple trade there. He goes for an Eviscerate there to remove that. Then all he's got to do is trade 2 there. Alright. And he gets the clear. That's good. So we go Sunwalker. And I debate, but I figure 1 card versus 2 is a lot better of a trade at this point. Now he's thinking really hard here. He's got to figure a way of getting through all this. So he's going for more answers. You know, he got the reduction from Emperor Thurzan on that sprint. Might as well use it. Goes for the backstab. Here comes Mr. Eviscerate. We're okay with this, ladies and gentlemen. So we go for another card draw ourselves because we're a druid and we're greedy as fuck. And that's, you know, how you're supposed to play druid. And look at that, another wrath! It literally replicated itself. And you know what? Like I said, we're greedy as fuck. Let's keep going for it. Just because I really want to get Tree of Life. Now he's almost out of cards! All that combo synergy, and he's been stuck behind taunt walls. So he goes for a heal, hoping that he can, you know, last long enough, because he knows I have more in my deck. I believe the play here would be like an SI7 agent and then weapon up. And he goes for the SI. And weapons up. Wow, it's like I'm a genius or something. Alright. So, I'm looking at this, and I could easily remove those minions and then play a Cairn. I opt to just clear board instead. And do 4 damage to face, plus another 4 damage to face. Because he's now low on cards. And he just healed himself back up. And I just negated that. So he's clocked like a motherfucker right now. He might be able to deal with that last Sunwalker. But what's he going to have left for the Ancient of War? I mean, we haven't seen any saps. Now would be the time. Alright? And that's all I kept thinking is now would be the time. You know? It'd be perfect time for saps to drop. So he goes for the Tinker Sharp Sword oil play. He's wanting to burn. He still has 2 mana left. There's the Blade Fury, and it's empowered. He is trying to go for the win right now, ladies and gentlemen. You can't blame this guy. You cannot blame him. Alright. So we go for the taunt. And we remove the bird. And we get the Tree of Life! So he's used both of his rates. He's used both Blade Furies. He's used pretty much everything. Other than like double Sinister Strike. There's nothing he's got left. And we win. So we literally outlasted an oil rogue. And yeah. It was very sketch there for a bit, but we played that very, very good. He also misplayed like twice in there that I saw. So keep that in mind. But maybe that was a fluke, right? Right. Alright, well let's try it against Priest. The weakest class out there. But they got some really interesting shenanigans. Alright? If Priest gets a really good opening hand, they can totally screw you over. Hey, look at that. We got Wild Growth. Yay. And garbage. Boo. And Tree of Life. Now, ooh, that's kind of a scary card in this matchup. Alright, so the Northshire Cleric, because, you know, he's a priest. That's actually really bad for us because he's going to get a lot of card draw, get answers, he can overwhelm us. We really don't have like the really cool board clear with Poison Seeds, unfortunately. It's something I thought maybe should go in here, but I mean, other than replacing Emperor Thurzan, I really didn't feel comfortable with it. Alright, so we get to ramp again, which is great. And we get to put on some armor. So, next turn, we will be at 6 mana. So we have some options we have to look here. We could go Emperor Thurazan, right? It'll just die. We go Cairn, however, it'll die, but it'll still remain. So we're setting this up. And I'm looking at the board, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to be annoying, but I think I can handle this. Then I saw that, and I went, oh, yeah, this just got a shit ton more annoying. So he's going to get a card draw. Now, as you'll notice, that's at 6. Well, if you look at my hand, that Starfall is looking real tempting right now, isn't it, guys? Yes, it is. Okay. So, I consider doing Kel'Thuzad, just doing the trade, but that won't really do anything. And I'm looking at the sequencing of how I have to do this. I'm considering other options here, but the best play is literally Bane into him, Hero Power into the 1/3, and then drop the Starfall. It took me a second to figure this, though. Because I was looking at hand going, alright, what would be the value play? What would be the... And I just realized, fuck it, let's just clear the board while we can before this gets out of hand. Alright, so he gets no value off the Cultist, which, you know, cults are bad. Alright, so there's the Arcanine, and all I keep thinking is, you know, I could do some shenanigans here. I can do some real shenanigans. But I opt to play it marginally safe. I consider how I want to do this. And then I start counting and realize, oh, wait, I could do all of this. So we get the reduction on Kel'Thuzad, which won't really matter much. But hey, you know, the idea here was literally to have Thurazan live a turn more. That was the plan. That plan did not work out too well because this was fucking Priest. Alright? And then he played that. So, at this point, I'm pretty much... Yeah. He's already used one Shadow Word Death, and a lot of these Priest decks only run one of those. They'll run one of them, and then one of Shadow Word Pain. So since I saw it for Emperor Thurazan, I figured he had nothing left. It was a smart gamble, to be perfectly honest. So he's going to have to trade his board a bunch. But he goes for the Light Bomb play. Brilliant. And here comes Mr. Zombie Chow. So we're going to Hero Power. Now we can play any one of our taunts we want. And we get Sylvanas. So we go with the 6 here. Because, you know, makes sense. Want to just deny him. So he's going to go look through our deck, hopefully to find an answer. The answer is, you still lose, sir. So he shrinks down the taunt, and then look at that. Shadow Word Pain comes into effect. And he hits for face. Simple little Hero Power trade, and look at that. Sylvanas actually gets to go to the face. So her value was there. Mind you, he could easily kill her, and I get like jack shit for value. In theory. In theory, that's what should happen. Instead, he decides to go a slightly different route. My old healing touch. And then he heals me up, as if to say, yes, you can have this back. It was a little rude, to be perfectly honest with you. I opt just to go face again, so Sylvanas now has done 10 damage. And I give him a card draw. I'm okay with giving him a card draw. The deck is about outlasting him. And we're doing a pretty damn good job of doing that. He goes for the Dr. Boom. This is where shit gets scary, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. We do a trade there. Do a trade there. And we get our other tree. Damn it. Alright, so I'm basically saying YOLO, let RNG be what it be. You can't ask for better RNG than that. You really can't. This is a very difficult board for him to deal with. He's already used his Dark Bomb. We've already seen one Shadow Word Death. There's like 3 prime Shadow Word Death targets on the board as we speak. He's looking at 17 damage plus hero power is 18 damage. He can mitigate 2, but still. It's a bad place for this priest. It's a very, very, very bad place for the priest. And he's pondering this. He's pondering it so much. It's like, fuck, how... Alright, let me go with the Aki. That's funny. Alright. And he blows the board. Best play ever. And I'm considering saying, fuck you. But you know what? I want to win this game. So we go for the 2 card draws. And we go for the 3rd card draw. Because we are Druid. We are greed. Now, Plague's Engine here, not ideal, because they do run Shadow Madness. So he's going to put that out. He's going to take it up to a 3. We're easily going to remove it. We go with the Sunwalker, the trade, and because even Shadow Madness now will not kill that, we do this instead. So we have a very serious board here that he's running out of options to deal with. The deck does that quite often and quite nicely. And then he concedes because he really had no other option. Alright, no other option, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the deck. It's a really fun deck, guys. You should check it out. There will be a link down in the description. The maker of the deck actually put a mulligan guide in there to help you, because this is a very difficult deck to figure out. I'm not even going to lie. Alright, it's not what we've seen. It's not the same fucking net decking copy pasta shit that everybody's trying to make a name for themselves by posting up something they saw somebody else play and then they teched one card. You know? But he actually did put in a mulligan guide. Normally I have a problem with people who like do this whole, you know, when I get such and such upvotes, I will give a guide. I generally don't like that. I find that's a little shady, to be perfectly honest. But hey, it's a great deck. It really is a great deck. And the guide, it's a simple mulligan guide. It's really all you need to do, you know? Once you kind of understand how this deck works, this deck can be quite amazing. Now he claimed, alright, rank 9 to legend in 24 hours. I can kind of see that. I definitely can see that with this deck. And it's something that most people won't know how to deal with. They'll see those nourishes, They're like, Now, this isn't too uncommon. If you're familiar with Druid decks that use Kel'Thuzad and a lot of taunts, this is going to feel right at home. The only difference between this and those decks is you're able to get to that a whole lot more consistently, and you've got the heals to deal with all the burst damage that is out there in the meta. Because as like me and Noxious were discussing the other day, this meta is literally all about burst. Okay? I mean, everything has burst with the exception of Priest. Alright, so anyway, if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, leave comments down below. Let me know what you think. As I said before, there will be a link to this deck and its guide in the description. If you have a deck you'd like me to take a look at, do a review on, let me know. I will give you my honest opinion before I actually put out the video. And if you're still okay with that, then that's cool. Till next time, this is Shiv saying, may RNGesus bless you, and you know what, everybody? Don't judge a fucking deck before you play it. Seriously, I was ready to write this deck off, but you know what? It's a fucking amazing deck. Peace.